Morning, welcome back to another episode of Dirt Cop Dual Sport. This morning I'm continuing on with my Firewatch series. We're actually on our way to this mountain right behind us. A mountain that has a bit of a storied history as far as lookouts are concerned. So let's get going, finish our coffee, and enjoy the ride. Ton of freaking rock. Thank you so much for joining me on this ride today. I've been seeing tons of wildlife and hopefully we run into some, but if we don't, well, there's no shortage of views around here. The mountain I'm heading to is a super special mountain to me for a few reasons. Number one, this one my grandparents, my dad really liked. They would go up there and hunt grouse all the time when my dad was a kid. So that's cool. The second reason I like it is because it was the first mountain I rode up to with my TW200. And this is the first road I took. So even though I ride this road quite a bit, and it's really, not exactly crazy hard road to ride, it's still got a special place in my heart. And cool enough, this road's part of the Idaho BDR, which I would love to ride someday. The entirety of it. We've got weeds galore along this route. Of course, right when I say that, they disappeared. Avoiding that. Now, off to our left, you can see all those yellow flowers. It's St. John's wort. I'm sure everyone knows what a daisy is. Lots of those there. I gotta check out a berry patch as soon as we get to it. Well, here's my berry patch. Let's check it out, check it out, check it out. Someone's getting some nice wood. Wow. Dude, I don't have a truck up here. Looks like I'm not the only one who knows about this berry patch. It's like a little bear's in here. Well, got a lot of berries in here. Look at that. Look at that. No one's been in here. It's full of fucking berries. It's full of freaking berries. Everywhere. Whew. Alright. It's good. Ow. Best thing ever. Huckleberries are delicious. Alright, back on the road. At some point I gotta cross a pavement road. So my grandma, she loves to pick huckleberries. I'm going to have to bring her up here to get a bucket of them. I'm going to bring the whole family. It's not the easiest place to pick, but it is fairly easy. People have already started finding huckleberries. The ethos I keep in my mind is I'm exploring the area around my hometown. I'm finding my own adventure, and I want you to find your own adventure. Correct my butchering of this Thoreau quote, of this Henry David Thoreau quote. But I believe he said, I've done a great deal of traveling around Concord. Meaning, he found everything he needed to find around his little hometown. Woo. Well, I've been steadily climbing and I've almost got to the top. Right behind me is the first peak that you come to, and fortunately I can't get to that. We'll reach that saddle over there, and there's a separate road that goes up to that peak, but it's off limits for us as a gate, and I can't get around the gate. Believe me, I've tried. But past that, when you keep going, there's the peak we're going to. So far, it's been not a super eventful ride, though. Like I don't know how to, maybe I'm just kind of overreacting, but when I had to cross a paved road, and when I got there, there was this Cherokee parked there with these two guys, no license plates on it, and these guys, like, I waved at them, and they just like stared at me, and like the weird thing was, one was sitting in the front, one was sitting in the back. Like, what is that about? Anyways, let's get going. Let's get to the top of this mountain. Time to go to the top of this mountain. I would like to make it up to the top of this guy, but it's just not in the cards. And there's our mountain we're going towards. Oh, little birdies, little birdies. It's starting to get rocky out here. Now you can tell we're getting in the high country. We've got the mountain hemlocks, got these brushy little huckleberries, subalpine fir. We're practically to the top right here. Just a lovely ride. This is a lovely ride. Look at this. I could almost get around this. It's actually locked. Oh, it is. So, fun fact. I think I was recording at 60 frames per second, and that's why I was losing so much time. Alright. Well, we've established that I can't make it up that one. One of these days, I'm just gonna do it. I'm sure lots of other people do. It looks like that chain's in pretty rough shape. Oh man, this is rough. The last little bit going up to these mountains is always rough. Almost always rough. And the first time I rode up here, I was nervous. These corners, oh my god, they were getting me. For your safety, portions there you're into were burned during recent fires. You may encounter hazards in the forest. Beware of the falling. Unstable dead trees, loose rocks and logs, burned out stump holes, ash and needles, flash flooding. Be alert. Gosh, that's a cool thing. Made it to the top of Sunset Peak. And every time I make it up here, I am so shocked at how rough that last couple hundred yards is. The 2024 Beaver Creek prescribed fire. Interesting. Down in that clearing, you can see where some old mine workings are. 8 o'clock. I wanted to leave it like 5. Left at 6 instead. Now this structure behind me, I don't know if it has anything to do with the lookout or the telecommunication stuff, but it looks a little old and unsafe, so I'm not going to go in it. Welcome to the very top of Sunset Peak. This is one of my favorite rides. It's, gosh, I think it was 16 miles from my driveway to the top of this mountain. If I wasn't filming, it probably would have taken me half an hour. And the views are out freaking outrageous. And the history's there, not only for me and my family, but for the Lookout community. Looking out, when we're coming up here, we saw those signs saying stuff about fires, and I'm looking down here and I can see where there was a burn way down there. And I don't know if that's part of the burns they were talking about or something different. Anyways, let's get comfortable and talk a little bit about this lookout in this peak. All right, we got to whip into my bag and get out my handy dandy Lockbee notebook. I got some notes about this peak and we're gonna go over them because there's some interesting things about it. All right, so like I said, we're at the top of Sunset Peak, and of course, because this is part of the Firewatch series, at one point there was a lookout up here. And if you follow the history of the lookouts up here, there's actually several of them. You can see that this vantage point really afforded a beautiful view, a critical view of the area where you could call in a lot of fires and see a lot of country. I can see Silver Mountain Ski Resort back that way. I can see several mines in the area. There were all kinds of places that needed protection from fire, and this lookout served that purpose. Now, the elevation of this peak is 6,424 feet, so it's fairly high for the area. In 1916, the Forest Service built just a log cabin up here, and that served as the lookout. There was no poles, there was no cupola, just a log cabin, and the lookout would just wake up in the morning, come outside, and look around for fires and call them in if he saw any. Now that all changed a little bit, but 12 years later in 1928, the Forest Service decided to add a cupola to the top of the cabin. This allowed the lookout to be able to see 360 degrees in all weather, whether it was hot or cold or raining or whatever. They could see and be protected from the elements. I've got a few pictures of this lookout. I'll pull them up and I'll put them on this video. You can take a look and see for yourself what exactly happened up here. After this cabin and cupola served for quite a few years, the Forest Service decided to bring an L4 cab up here. Now, as you know, the L4 cab is a 14 by 14 lookout, and it had a 360 degree glass around it, so they could just be in there in their living quarters. They didn't have to get up in a cupola or anything or leave the lookout at all. They could inspect and glass the entire area whenever they needed in whatever weather, and they could do it in the comfort of their living quarters. Interesting enough, this cab wasn't built specifically for this peak. It was on top of another peak called Maple, and for whatever reason, for reasons that I don't think anyone knows these days, they moved that cab over to the top of Sunset Peak. It was built for Maple in 1938, so it probably has a hipped roof. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if I saw a picture of the L4 cab that was up here, only the cabin and the cupola. In 1957, they built the two-story lookout specifically to put up here, so they got rid of the L4 cab and had this one up there. That one only lasted till 1970 when they decided to destroy it when it was no longer needed. This structure behind me has nothing to do with the original lookout. This is some sort of telecommunication tower that's been up here for as long as I can remember. And if you can see this peak over here, it also has some telecommunication equipment on top. Now, the last one they built only lasted till 1975 when the Forest Service decided it was no longer needed and destroyed it. Whether they burned it, tore it down, removed everything, I couldn't tell you. There's really no sign of it anywhere. This monument I'm sitting on could have served as a footing. I have never seen any footings up here, and I've never really found anything that has to do with the lookout itself. Something interesting about this peak and this lookout is right below us was an active mine. I believe it was called the Sunset Mine or the Sunset Peak Mine, but it had a high-grade silver vein that was actively being mined while lookouts were up here. And at one point there was a woman lookout who quit on the spot after the miners mined up through the outhouse. I don't think she was in it when it happened, but she decided she'd had enough of it up here. The remains of that mine, I believe, are right below us, and friend of mine actually visited it earlier in the summer, and I think I'm going to take a little drive out if we have time and see what's still left of it. Okay, so I was riding up here. I didn't think I was going to find the mine. I had no idea where it was. I was thinking about stopping and checking a map, but I saw this water coming down the road, and I knew that it was going to have something to do with the mine, because there shouldn't be water coming down the road otherwise. And I came around this corner, and I saw this. Here we got, I don't know if this is a portal or a shaft. I'm not going to stand on it though. But this is all caved in. And yeah, this is all caved in. Not sure if it's safe, but up above it, we have this structure. It looks like this pipe's coming out of here, so this probably has something to do with providing water for the mine or the mill. There's no door or anything. Just a big water tank. And then below the road, we have some more structures. Take a look, see, huh? Yes. Look at that, all kinds of stuff left over here. There's a road that comes in. I passed that road, didn't realize that it was coming here. And here we go. I don't think I want to stand under that. But, so, really cool. Really cool. Now I'm going to poke around. Look at that. What do we have here? This old lock. Old bolt. There's a railroad spike. They probably ran ore cars out of here. Thought I might run into some high grade stuff. It's looking like it's just waste rock. Yeah, I got a nice big dump right here. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. That looks like some sort of ore. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure what it is. See how soft it is. That's pretty hard. I don't know what that is. It's tough to be able to tell when it's oxidized and weathered. That's heavy. Heavy like it has metal in it. Here we go. Smaller one. Well, there we have it, everybody. The Sunset Mine. They will dig right into your outhouse. That's it for the history of the Sunset Mine, which leaves us with one thing to do while we're at the top of this mountain, and that's the Dirt Cop Coffee Testing Deliciousness Scale. And today I have a little something special. I never really drink these. My wife loves them, and we had a couple, and I thought, this needs to happen. This is the Frizz Coffee, a sweet, bubbly espresso. This is made in Italy. We can buy them at our local grocery store, though. That's probably the only place I've really seen them. But I'm gonna have a taste. I brought it up in this cooler bag that's full of ice to keep it cold, because I just feel like this is an important one to keep cold. So let's have a try. Ooh, all bubbly. Dang, that's good. That's really good. Now, I guess these come in cans, so if you're going camping or riding, it's probably better to bring the one in the can, but dang, this is a good tasting drink. It's pretty simple. It only has water, sugar, coffee, carbon dioxide, and caramel coloring. So a moment of truth, Frizz Coffee, sweet bubbly espresso from Italy. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 on the Dirt Cop Coffee Deliciousness scale. Next Next time I come out though, I'm gonna have to bring a can and see if that's any better or worse.